What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is a legendary Founding Titan, and today I want to make a video going over my top 5 favorite characters in the game for, like, the tanks. Now, to do this, I had to do more than just the tanks. Uh, I see any melee fighter able to properly be a tank, pretty much. Any melee fighter, apart from the assassins, like the warriors and the supports and the tanks all can be a tank basically. So that's what I'm looking at today. I'm looking at the top 5 of my favorites, not the best, but my favorites. And I'm gonna go over why they're my favorites. So let's get right into it. So I am a tank main, as you can see. I have 282 for tank, 220 for warrior, 219 for support. So I played a lot of these characters, a lot. So I'm gonna be going over my top 5 favorite and explain their kits, explain why I like them so much, and as a tank player myself, I feel like if you're also a tank player, I do believe that these are characters that are definitely worth checking out, definitely worth playing as if you haven't already. So let's get right into it. So, for my number 5 spot, I think my number 5 spot, honestly, is now this isn't really in order, but of like my least to favorite. This is 5 of my favorites because it's really hard for me to make a list of I mean, my favorite is of course, you know. I mean, if it wasn't obvious, but other than that though, it's really hard for me to choose. So one of my favorites is actually Greystone. So Greystone is he's a pretty beefy tank. As you more than likely know, his E and his R make him a excessively powerful tank. Uh, has great utility with his jump and his Q to be able to clear minion waves pretty quickly. Because it scales off of your physical defense, so going for a crap ton of physical defense is actually really effective, making him be able to do more damage and being able to tank a lot more. This is a great passive on his Q, and it's one of the reasons I really like this character because of the fact that you could just hit pretty decently hard with his Q, just with armor. This ability is also really nice for being able to block attack, especially if you have Marauder's Watch. Marauder's Watch, I do believe, is key on this item, on this character, I mean, because it reduces the time when you can block, and you do need a little bit more damage, so Marauder's Watch kind of does that for you. Um, so I do like Marauder's Watch. I like putting Marauder's Watch and some sort of vamp item together. It's also really good with him, and you do a decent amount of damage then as well. Um, the Transcendent Knight, I mean, of course, the ult is really good. You come back to life, giving you more health, giving you more mana back, doing true damage based off of how much health and magical power you have. It's really, really good. Um, his leap attack, I mean, it's just a getaway or an entrance to the fight. Not too special, but it does help quite a bit. Um, yeah, it's a pretty solid character overall. I do have a build for him, although collectively I don't typically stay with it. I usually change it around. I actually don't know if I still have it. I think because I've been I've been re balancing all my builds. So yeah, I've been rebalancing my builds, so I don't actually have it anymore. But to give you a example of what I would go for, I like to pick up Marauder's Watch because, like I said earlier, the skill thing is really good for the passive you get on your shield block, so you can block more coughs, yeah, block more attacks. It's really effective for that. And then for my health items, I would pick up like healing nano because you do more damage based of how much your ult specifically allows you to be more tanky and allows you to do more damage with the more health you have. So this is a nice thing to pick up once in a while. But uh, I this is like a I'd say this is more like a useful item more than a key item. I think a key item is more like this. I think Marauders is actually really good. And then I would definitely go for a lot of physical defense always. This isn't too bad for him, I wouldn't think. I haven't actually tried it on him, but I actually do think this would probably be very effective for him. But I know this is pretty useful. I wouldn't say it's a key item, but it is a useful item. Uh, Ice Spirit Gloves is I I wouldn't say it's starter items level, but I'd just say useful as well. Swamp Cloak is one of my favorites. Um, I'd almost go as far to say key item just because of the utility it has. I like the high end armor. This is something that I would probably start out with. Um, maybe even this. Probably this actually. I'd probably start out with this first because of the extra defense and passive it has. It's really good. Um, this is also pretty good to go with it. These two together is really insane. Decreases enemy nearby physical power by 40% and attack speed by 40% for 40 seconds. Or 40 seconds. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. 5 seconds. While also, this, ever so time the enemy stacks a thing on you, they also reduce their attack speed and slow themselves by, you know, 6%. And this stacks up 5 times, so it'd be 25% attack speed that you're reducing while also reducing 30% of their movement speed. So really effective, especially when these two items are coordinated together. Really good. Um, I think the Guardian at the Lean is also really good. Probably more of a starter or a key item when you're dealing with those pesky carries. It's really good there. This is also a useful item for the anti-heal, I'd say. It's just a lot of physical defense that you want to go for. This is also a key item for him, I think. In the late game, only pick this up when you're at 5th or 6th item, level 16 or 17, because this item actually gives you the highest magical base stats in the game, as I'll show you. The highest magical defense item in the game is 50. Nothing goes beyond 50, apart from this item. This item goes over the 62 magical defense. Is it the best against energy damages? No. This is. Mana Black Hole is is the best for magic defense, but this thing gives you the most actual stats for it. But this passive gives you the best. It gives you the best passive against magic. Um, but for Greystone specifically, I would more go for Star Grace probably because of the tenacity it has on it, or even Blacksmith Scissors actually, because of the fact that you do need a lot of reductions to tenacity because of how OPCC is in this game. So these two items are also really good. Yeah, and this is also useful if you want to pick that up. Chocolate Generator is also really good. Honestly, probably a key item. Just because it's it has a good passive on it. Really good passive. Stuns them for 2 seconds after reaching 30% health. Really good. Um, I'll sometimes pick this item up. This is I wouldn't say it could be considered a key item. Depending on the situation, it could be considered a key item. Uh, I think that's really not that bad to pick up. The last item that I would ever go for him, I think in the top of my head anyway, is like either this or this. One of these items. I think one of these items is like really good. Whichever one you're going for, if you're going for more magic damage, I personally go for more physical damage. You do more. I think you do more magic damage. Uh, but I don't really build him for that. I mainly just build him for physical personally because of the Marauder's Watch. So I build more onto that. Um, I do think if you're trying to go for more damage, I do think the energy damage is probably better for him. But for me, I go for Marauder's Watch, and then I go like some sort of damage item. Uh, I would probably say like this is not too bad for him if you're trying to go for like a high damage thing, but I just build him for a tank mostly though. So that's enough of Greystone. The second, the number four spot, um, like I said, not really in order, but let's say I think the number four spot would have to go to uh probably my boy Steel. Uh, Steel is a support, obviously enough, and he has a Q ability, which is like a charge attack. Tanks about 40% of whatever physical defense he has. You could actually make this so tanky to where it shields you from three inhibitor attacks. That's right, inhibitor attacks. So this thing is actually really strong eventually. Um, does decent damage. Not really built for that, but it's you're not building any damage on this guy. This man is a behemoth. Despite him being a support, he has the third highest stats in the game out of all the characters. Base stats meaning HP and armor of physical and energy armor. He has the third highest in the game. And he is a behemoth. He is not easy to kill. He's got a ironclad wall that protects you from your ADCs as you see here from all projectiles. There is some things that could go like there is quite a few things that could go through it, like twin blasts, like grenades and shit like that. Like a lot of like AOE abilities can go through it, but as far as like a lot of projectiles go, it just shields you from it completely. Um, his R ability, of course, is his opener for a fight. His ultimate engage ability, able to stun an entire enemy team. Your ult can really make a difference in a fight for sure. I love Steel's engagement. Honestly, between the Q and R, Steel is probably one of the best, if not the best, opener to a fight. Steel is a monster when you master when to use these two abilities together. He is a absolute machine because you buy your team just so much time to do a lot of damage and enough damage to the point that you can change an entire fight by itself if even if you're behind the enemy for farm and stuff. You can change a fight very quickly. Um, yeah, his ult is really a game changer. And then you got your basic attack, and then you got the shield bash, which slows them, and it also skills off of your physical defense. So basically the same thing for Grace, like the same build for Greystone. You just go for a lot of physical defense. I'd say probably four physical defense deep. Uh, so for Steve, I actually do have a build for this to showcase right away. I actually do it on Grux. So for Grux, I do Guardian of the Lean, Artificial Gravity Inductor, Ice Spirit Gloves, and high end armor. So all collectively, you have like 210 physical armor right there alone, and then 55 on top of that, which would be like 265 or is that 265? Wait. Yeah, it'd be 265. Yeah. So you have 265 physical defense while also not including the already built-in physical defense, which most tanks and supports have 100 defense on their own when they get to level 18. So you're talking around like 365 physical defense. So pretty fucking strong. On top of that, with this, which gives you about 57 more physical defense. So, oh god. So you're talking about like anywhere from 80 to 400 physical defense with that. So that's a lot of physical defense. So yeah, Steel is a behemoth in terms of just being the tank that he is. Um, Sevrog is another character that I really, really like. He's actually my second most played. Um, I love playing Sevrog. He is a powerful house, powerful house, a powerhouse in the tank arsenal. It's pretty much like I'd say overall, Sevrog is probably the tank, like the first or second tankiest tank in the game. Uh, the competition goes between him and Rampage. Those two are probably the strongest tanks in the game. Uh, but his Q is his main source of Sevrog, of what he is. So each soul gives you 4.2 health, and each time you get more souls, um, each time you get more souls, you are able to get more damage essentially as well because it scales off of 3% of your full health. So your health is key in this. So you go for a lot of health. You go for a crap ton of health. Um, and eventually, Several will just hit so freaking hard and do so much damage while being a tank, and it's nuts. This man can hit for like well over. I mean, he can hit for well over like 400 damage easily. Um, he's a hell of a bursting tank with this ability. As he should be because he is a tank that has less CC than the rest. Like he doesn't have like big opener ults like Steel. He doesn't have like a very powerful. He doesn't have a good AOE like Gray. I do think Greystone does need a buff in damage, but Sevrog is accepting of the Q. Like he's just really good for that burst damage. He's got a good root. He's got the ult that just knocks him around. He's got his basic attack, nothing special there, and then he's got a uh, Phantom Rush, which is unblockable, cannot be hit in it. So that's all really good. Sevrog is a absolute powerhouse when he gets up there, though. Once you get to around 250 stacks and have like 4 to 5 tank items, he is really fucking strong, hard to take down. Yeah, he's really good at the end game. Next is going to be Rampage. Rampage is also very strong. Has the Q for a nice stun. Has the E for a powerful slow for 30% plus does more damage based on how much physical defense he has. Has the ult which gives him 60. Now his ult is what makes him tankier than Sevrog because he gets 600 health. In late game he gets 1200 health. So he gets a lot of free health. Gets a lot of regeneration. This man is a super strong tank. Very, very strong. He's really hard to take down a lot of times if he's built right. Not much you could really do to him in the late game. Uh, you have to collectively take him down as a team, and even then, it's still really difficult. Um, so yeah, Rampage is a very strong character. Has the second highest stats in the game, second to Boris only, and his ult honestly makes him better than Boris though. So yeah, he's very strong in what he does. I really like Rampage a lot. Build a lot of health on him and a lot of physical defense because physical defense is the main source of your damage anyway. Because physical defense, most of the time, you're fighting more than one carry, And even if you weren't fighting more than one carry, most of the time you're fighting at least three physical damagers on the field. Um, being the tank, the jungle, or the ADC, typically. And not to mention all the minions do physical damage, all the objectives being Prime and Spirit do physical damage, all the towers, inhibs, core, they all do physical damage. So you want to have physical defense in this game for sure. Physical defense is key to your success as a tank. Um, Especially since a lot of it scales, like a lot of these characters scale off of physical defense. The one and only, my boy Grox. So Grox got nerfed a while back. He's got nerfed two or three times now. Um, Personally, as far as it goes for me, I actually don't like him as a jungler anymore. I feel like his clearing is very slow now. Um, Not to say that it's impossible to do jungle. I mean, Rampage can do jungle, but I personally just don't enjoy it anymore as a jungler. I see Grux more as a solo laner now. I think he works a lot better in solo lane for me personally. But I think Grux is one of the most powerful characters in terms of opening up the fight. He's got the charge attack, he's got the grab, he's got the ult, he's got good CC, good damage. Still, it's just not near as good as it used to be. It's just really underwhelming now. Um, so, which is why I've been remaking these builds as well because of Grux specifically. Um, I'll actually show you my Grux build right now. It's not complete, but typically this is what I would go for. So, Guardian, Helene, Artificial Gravity Inductor, Ice Spirit Gloves because he has a mana problem now. Uh, his mana, they made his abilities cost a lot more, and this item gives you that mana that you need in a fight because he runs out of mana so fast, even with this on. Um, High Priest, this is also a really good item. Chakra Generator, Blacksmith Scissors. Basically, your entire kit now, for me, as Grux, plays around the team. You're playing around the team, and you're playing around the enemy's carry. You just want to kill that carry as fast as you can. And that's why you're a heavy. For me, I built him to be a heavy tank diver. Um, because to me personally, I mean, I've always built him more to the tanky side more than the damage side because as Grux, as a Grux, I personally feel like if you can't go into a team fight, if you can't dive into a 1v5, grab everyone, set everyone up to get killed by your teammates. If you can't do that as a Grux, to me, I think you're not playing the character to its fullest potential. Because Grux is he's a very good diver, and I mean, as a tank, you're still doing a lot without the damage side anyway. You're still doing. I mean, sure, it's harder for you to get a kill in a one-on-one, but like that's not about that though. As Grux, you're setting up the team. It's all about because in the late game, it's all about those team fights. Every single 2 seconds, you have this huge team fight, and I see Gruxes always build damage, and they get fucking shredded, like instantly. They get shredded. Even I try to play Grux damage, and I get shredded. So that's why I prefer him as a tank because you know there's a lot of healing characters in the game. Someone is always healing, whether it's the carries building lifesteal, whether it's their support being Mako or Narbash, whether it's Chimera, Rampage. So a lot of the big characters out there are being played a lot, and Grux counters them with this ability alone, giving them 20%, or should it be even? You reduce that person's healing. You're reducing their healing. You're being a tank. You're being annoying, being in their face, grabbing them, stunning them with your ult. I mean, you are a great setup for your team, especially if you do have a lot of cooldown. If you have a lot of cooldown, because a lot of my items that you saw there have cooldown on them, and cooldown is key for Grux's success as well. I could see you going for Berserker's Helm or even Marauder's Watch, putting them together. That could work too. But I definitely prefer just going full on tank, just getting in there, doing as much CC as you can, this constantly putting the rage debuff on them. You want to spam that ability as much as you can because that's your best ability. Right as of right now, it's like one of your best abilities because it's a built-in anti-healing. Because healing can get really excessively strong in this game, and that item, that ability, is a saving factor for Grux. You definitely want to use that ability with your team. You want to keep doing it over and over again. Basically, the combo you want to do if you're trying to get into a fight, it's definitely just E, Q, and then this ability. And then Q, then this. If you're just walk up to them and Q and you just constantly. These are your two best abilities for sure. This is what makes you better as a tank, honestly. And when your ult's up, you just go, you go E, Q, R, then this. That way, you're stunning them twice, basically, while also reducing their healing. I mean, Grux is a very heavy base diver, I think, and is best as a diver. He's the best as a diving tank, and that's why I like him best to go for super high durability because you want to get in the enemy's face at all times. You want to neutralize, CC those, pesty carries, those mages. You want to grab those mages, lock them down a bit, give your team some opening room to fight around the enemy team. I mean, you want all the attention to be on Grux. You might die in that fight because of the late game because you're diving into a 1v5. You might die, but the amount of time that you buy and the amount of pressure that you're putting on the enemy team when you're pulling them into you like that is absurd. Like they want to take you down quickly because you're punishing all of them at once. You're punishing their healing factor. You're CCing the shit out of them. Like they want to kill you because you're putting a lot of pressure on them right now when you're diving in on them. So they're gonna want to take you down, and your ADCs are gonna be like on your flanks, on your side, trying to shoot into the crowd of the enemy that you're pulling in to you. So they're gonna be helping you from the sides, the back, behind you. They're gonna be helping you regardless of the situation. So, giving your team as much breathing room as possible is key to Grux's success. You gotta really play around your team. It really does suck though when you have a bad team and you just can't really do much because your entire kit kind of plays around your team really. Because even if you go full damage, that ADC is doing more damage to you in late game, and you can't you gotta close the gap constantly to even get to them, and by that time you're already dead because of the fact that they just have so much more damage than you and the range over you. Especially if it's Doc, because you can just try to charge into him, and he shotgun blasts you with his pistol, and you just get knocked back, and you have no way of really closing the gap then until your charge comes in. At least you could try to grab them, but at that point it'd be too late because you already taken so much damage in the late game. So that's why I built him as a tank because you could take the punishment. You could take the punishment. You could take way longer to kill. And Grux is, like I said, Grux is a really good setup for the team. So, and Grux damage, you still can do it. The only way it really works though is if you're ahead. If you're not ahead, Grux damage just sucks. It's horrible. So yeah, I think building it for a tank is definitely better. Um, And if you don't have a good team to play around, then I mean, really, you're kind of screwed regardless. So, it is what it is sometimes. But that's my top five favorite tanks. I do believe I went over Greystone, which was my fifth. Fourth is Steel, Srog, Rampage, and then Grux. I love all these characters. And those are my personal favorites. If you guys enjoyed this video and me breaking it down for you why I like these characters and why you should try these characters out, make sure to leave a like, a comment, a sub would be great, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.